So the plumbing industry, especially with the service plumbing, your plumbing doesn't care if we're in a recession.
Yeah.
It's going to break, it's going to break.
Wow.
So I just built a brand new home, got laid off. 2007, the big crash came, and it's not a very glamorous thing. We don't sub anything out. The same guys that repiped your house are fixing your drywall. Patch it and texture it, and once you paint it, you can never tell we were there. Try to start young. Be willing to sacrifice. Go in and put your head down and work hard. There's a career path that no one can ever take from you.
All right, Sean, well, tell us today a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Okay, I'm Sean Hefner. I am co-owner of Hefner Plumbing here in Ocala. I've been with the company for about 18 years and been co-owner for about 2.5. I started in plumbing, a company called Ocala Plumbing. They were here in town when I was 26 or so. I started doing electrical work before that, when I was like 20 years old-ish.
Okay.
I started in electrical work doing new construction stuff, and then I got to know the plumbers real well, and then became close with them, and they really liked me, so I ended up getting a job opportunity doing that, and I made that career change when I was maybe 26 or so.
Okay.
Yeah, right around that age.
Do you find that electrical is like, I don't know, to me I would think electrical in some ways would be more schooling and difficult.
I mean, it was just more tedious.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
I liked doing it when I did it. And to be honest with you, the reason why I got out of it, because I was offered more money to do plumbing.
Okay.
Or otherwise, I might be still doing electrical work. I mean, I don't
Okay.
know. But I knew the plumbers made more than electricians. And at the time, I don't know if it's true now, but I was interested in making more money. I just had a child. I was like 2 weeks into having my first child.
Okay.
So money was important.
Yeah, money is important.
So when I had the opportunity to make more of it, I took it.
I would think that's probably still true because plumbing to me, electrical work I feel like is like a one and done or something that has to be done periodically.
Yeah.
Where plumbing,
There's a lot more that can break, I think, in a plumbing system, and does break more than an electrical. A lot more area for service in plumbing. Electrical's probably not as much service work involved. I know updating electrical services and stuff like that's common, but plumbing breaks often.
But I would think in Florida we do have the electrical updating, but our houses are not as old as up north. So
Yeah.
I feel like we have less of that to do.
Updating electrical is probably, I mean, I know there's like if you have to do a new panel or something like
Oh
that.
yeah, now that is very
that gets
common.
expensive, and updating, to new codes and stuff like that, But yeah, plumbing breaks quite often.
Yes, and then also they really loved putting the flex pipe in.
Yes.
In the late 80s to 90s, they love that flex pipe. So all those like villas and like townhomes and things like that, they loved putting that in there. So that is, and it's a mess. It's a ticking time bomb.
Oh yeah. Like that polybutylene stuff. Yeah.
It's gonna break at some
point. They outlawed
point.
it. I can't remember what year it was, but it'd been a long time ago.
Yeah.
We replaced a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, it's something that comes up, believe it or not, that I deal with.
A lot of mobile homes and stuff like that.
Not mobile homes, but more like villas, townhomes, condos.
Wow.
Those types of things. Yeah, like my aunt had a condo in Naples, and it was like all of the units were flooded with this stuff. And so it ended up breaking, and they ended up having to replace it all. But it was kind of a mess, and getting insurance was very difficult. But I mean, I guess it is what it is. What are you going to do about it? I think most houses now have gotten rid of all of it.
Yeah, we use what's called PEX pipe.
Okay.
It's become a lot more common. We've been using it for over 20 years, and a lot of new construction people are using it now more. It's just more expensive fittings and systems and tools than some of the other stuff like CPVC is kind of what a lot of builders use, which is we kind of stay away from it just because it doesn't have the lifespan that like a PEX pipe does. So we try to use the best materials we possibly can because we do a lot of repiping. We do no new construction whatsoever. It's all service work and repiping and repairs and stuff. No new construction at all.
Okay, which I'm sure you guys deal with a lot too, because like my parents had a 1970 something. It had all copper piping.
Yep.
And that eventually.
Yeah, copper pipings are, we do a lot with that, with pinholes under slabs and stuff like that. It happens a lot around here, especially. I'm not sure about throughout Florida, but I know in like Central Florida area, it's a very, very common.
What do you think that is?
I mean, I'm sure it's common more in other places. I'm just not aware of it. But I know that for a long time they had a run of, bad copper, and they were putting different metals inside the copper where, wasn't lasting, try to make it cheaper, So that was probably a big cause of it. There's a lot of things that can play with electrolysis, lightning. There's a lot of things that can kind of play a factor in why your copper would go bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, because actually you made an interesting point there. talking about how they like use cheaper copper piping and things like that. And during that era, I mean, that was the Carter years, so there was like shortages of everything,
Oh yeah.
which people don't. I don't know if people really know about that. It was kind of similar to COVID in a way. My grandfather was an electrician at the time, and he said that he literally they would have trucks that would come to deliver like copper wiring or whatever wiring that they needed, and it would be like three or like it wasn't enough. They would like or sometimes they would bring the truck by and there was nothing in it.
Wow.
Most literally. So it was kind of like COVID where we had like this mass shortage of everything, and that probably is contributing to what you're talking about. Because to me, I mean, the copper piping, I know eventually over time, and I figure hard water probably plays a role into that too.
Yep, hard water does play a role.
And we have that.
Florida's built on a big lime rock, so hard water is a big factor as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like that probably is a contributing factor. Do you think we'll have something similar? Do you think like I don't know, really even in your lifetime, my lifetime, like 20 years from now, let's say, of all the stuff that happened during COVID?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's just going to be ramifications from it, I'm sure. For we decades.
Don't know yet.
Yeah, right. Yeah, all the things that there's gonna be things.
Oh yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah, something's gonna come up, I'm sure of it. It kind of has to.
Yeah.
Because it was the same kind of thing. A lot of building, shortage of supplies, and I mean, I know builders that they just got sloppy.
Oh yeah.
And now
a lot of times they're just trying to do it for as cheap as possible. The bottom line's the only thing that matters. And there's a lot of builders out there that are just not great. I won't obviously mention any names, but
and some of them, they are what they are. That's kind of how I feel.
There's a lot of them that have been around this county for a very long time, who are very reputable, and you know who they are because they've been here forever. The bad ones don't usually typically last that long. They're in and they're out.
That fly by night.
The fly by night stuff, but the guys that have been here for a long time, there's a few of them around here, and I think you probably know who they are too. But yeah, they build good houses still.
They do. Stevens Construction, I actually have one of his houses, so it's a great house. There's nothing really wrong with it, even though there was some things I could tell that it just was what it was.
Yeah.
Like my countertops and my cabinets and my flooring don't really go together. I'm gonna be completely honest. Like I have white, black, and brown with like tan tile. That doesn't really with tan walls.
Was that a homeowner thing, or was that a builder thing?
That was a builder thing. They picked that.
Oh, it was a spec home?
Yeah, it was a spec home. That's all he could get.
Okay.
So it was whatever he could get at the time. He was like, it was either going to be chocolate. I remember my wife was freaking out. She's like, I do not want chocolate brown cabinets. I'd rather have the white. And I'm like, I mean, I think I would too, just because color was kind of god awful, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I should have just been black.
It's
at that
outdated
point.
now too.
Yeah.
White grays, the different colors, they're all in style.
Yeah. I hate all of it.
But in 20 years, they'll probably be, you wish you had them back.
I know, right? I like the old wood cabinets.
Yeah.
They don't make cabinets
Everything
anymore.
Circles back around.
It does.
You know what I mean?
It's actually kind of crazy though, because whenever I look at these older homes that are, I don't know, they're like, and I don't dislike like the old look of a kitchen. I don't know if I love it, but it is what it is. It still is in such good shape.
Yeah. You hate to get rid of it.
Yeah, I hate to get rid of it. I'm like, I think I just use it until it was actually
until it breaks down.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, why not?
Because I'm just like, it's in such like good shape. I hate to do that. I don't know. I mean, I can't say the same thing for plumbing, but for the actual like those fixtures or whatever, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, some people just really take good care of their stuff.
Yeah.
I go in some old homes, and everything looks brand new. I'm talking like homes that were built in the 70s, 60s.
Yes.
You go in there and everything looks immaculate. Or you go in, I can go into a house that's 10 years old and it's been completely neglected, and it looks run down. You know? So it doesn't matter of how you maintain your stuff, I guess,
Yeah, no, I kind of get that. So how did you end up becoming co-owner of the plumbing business?
Okay, so when I started with Hefner Plumbing in 2007, I got laid off from my job at Ocala Plumbing because 2007 was the big crash.
I had a feeling your story had something to do with that.
Yep, so 2007, the big crash came. I just built my house. I just finished my house. I got my CO on March 1st, and I got laid off in June.
Wow.
So I just built a brand new home, got laid off, found a job with another company who's out of business now because they were terrible the next day. But then I knew that wasn't a good fit for me. So, and I knew another guy that worked for Hefner Plumbing, and he kind of called me like a week later and told me they were thinking about hiring somebody. So I got the job, got the interview, got the job, and became close with Mr. Hefner. And about 2 years later, my best friend, co-owner Cody, lost his job. He was in construction as well. He was a inspector for the county. It's kind of an interesting story how that worked out. He was like doing odd jobs for Mr. Hefner, because he had a couple rental properties. He would pick weeds for him, do whatever he could just to make some extra money, you know. And then the guy that got me hired here ended up kind of being an alcoholic and doing some not good things, so he was let go.
Phased out, yeah.
So then Cody became like, we needed a guy, so he would come help us.
Okay.
And the next thing you know, I mean, you know, Tim offered us an opportunity to purchase the company from him, kind of give us a contract, and we fulfilled that contract, became owners in January 1st of 23.
Okay.
So 2.5 years ago. I've been with the company for 18 years this year. Cody is 16 years in now, so quite a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time.
It was interesting how it all played out. You know, we both lost our jobs.
Yeah.
We were both pretty down, you know, during those times. And, you know, Tim gave us both an opportunity to come be a part of his business that he grew. And he was just a wonderful man. I mean, he passed away last year on July 4th. We do our best to keep his legacy going and honor him in any way we can with this company. You know, something we take very serious.
No, I think that's really awesome, and I feel like we're going to have more stories in that way. I hope that we do.
Yeah.
Because there is a big opportunity if you're somebody who's young and you want to get into some type of trade, no matter what it is, because there's a lot of people that have built what I like, you know, there's other people that call it this, but boring businesses.
Sure.
You know, it's not exciting.
It's not a flashy business.
No, it's not flashy. I mean, plumbing's not, it's not glamorous.
No, it's not a glamorous job.
It's not glamorous. No. Nor is, you know, people that own businesses of porta potties, like those kind of businesses. Those aren't really glamorous, but guess what? They're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
They're pretty consistent.
There's a need.
Yeah, just like you said, like that was not the best of times, but he was still making money and still functioning and hiring people and doing things and growing in a sense, even when we were in a recession.
Yeah, so the plumbing industry, especially with the service plumbing, your plumbing doesn't care if we're in a recession. It's going to break, and you can't not have plumbing in your home. I mean, so you're going to have it fixed. So I think we're not recession proof.
No.
You know, I don't think there is such thing, but we can make it through those times just because there's always a need. You know, there's always a need for a plumbing repair. So
you just may have to get creative on
some people, there's also a lot of things in plumbing that aren't a need. You know, you want to update your kitchen faucet, or you want a water softener, or whatever it is. You know, those are wants, not needs. So I think when the economy is doing really good, people are more apt to go do those things, fulfill their wants, you know, so business could be a lot better in a good economy. But during a slow economy, we still keep the doors open, pay our guys, and, you know, keep food on the table, keep doors open.
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like it's much more, not necessarily recession proof, but like you said, but it's just more stable, I guess.
Sure.
And you can kind of, you know, like I said, maybe get creative with financing and think of how people can pay and kind of search those avenues that are out there.
The whole construction industry collapsing in 2007 kind of steered me away from ever wanting to do that again. New construction stuff, you know, that's where service plumbing for me has been my home for a long time. A lot of, you know, it's like weird because it's like two different animals. You know, new construction guys don't want to do service work, and service guys don't want to do. It's like it's almost like two different trades. You know, like they're completely separate.
Why do you think that is?
It's just a mentality, I think.
Okay.
You know, it's just a mentality. I think it's such a different world when you're out there doing new construction. You're out kind of by yourself. There's no one really around you. You know, you're kind of secluded. You're in a house where no one's living in, and you kind of do your thing. You know, no one's like watching over you. And when you're in a customer's home, that they're there present with you, you know, and they have all this stuff you have to respect. You know, you have to make sure that you're respecting someone's home. You're walking into their sanctuary, you know. You want to make sure that you do your best to make them comfortable with you being there and earn their trust, you know. So it's just a whole different thing.
No, I think that's true. I think, you know, even I'll be honest, selling new construction, like let's say new construction realtors versus residential real estate like I do. I mean, I sell new construction, yes, but I don't work for Lennar, D.R. Horton, or any of the big builders. You know, it is different. You're kind of on your own, doing your own thing. The builder sets your guidelines. You do what you do. You don't really, I mean, you do have to get the business, but it comes to you. It's definitely a lot different. Where me, residential, it's a lot of like hand holding, a lot of communicating, a lot of, you know, building that rapport, building those relationships and getting referrals. To me, I almost feel like it's more of an actual business, less of just sales.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you just mentioned a couple things like building rapport and relationships. That's something we're big on. You know, we don't want to just come in and fix your problem and leave and we want to come into your home, like I mentioned before, build a relationship with you, build your trust, get to know you a little bit. We want to have a good rapport relationship with our customers. It matters to us. It's not just like in and out and, on to the next job, I mean, in service industry too is it's so up and down. I mean, you can have, this week could be a very good week. Next week could be a slow week. It could be a good day. It could be a bad day. It could be, it's not like your schedule's not filled for months. We're talking weeks maybe that your schedules could be full, or days. There could be, it's just crazy how it works.
Yeah, no, I kind of relate to that. Like, one minute I will have nothing, and then like this week I'm slammed. Like, I have a bunch of stuff going on, and I kind of get a phone call on the weekend. Hey, we're coming into town this week, and I want to buy a house this weekend. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm scheduling 6 houses every day until we find you one.
Yeah.
It's kind of intense and crazy, which is probably something very similar to
what you never know. That phone could ring off the hook today, and tomorrow could be quiet.
Exactly. So what services do you guys actually provide at Hefner Plumbing?
So we do whole house repiping a lot. We do water heaters, water softeners, fixture replacement, fixture repairs. We do sewer line replacements. Pretty much anything that you could break in your house and plumbing wise, we take care of. We do some very light commercial work, nothing too heavy, but yeah, we do mainly residential service. Anything in your home that could possibly break or leak or whatever, we can take care of. Full house repipes. We do it all. We start to finish. We do our own drywall repair in-house.
Okay.
We do everything from start to finish. We're pretty well known for that around here, for doing the whole house repiping stuff.
Which is, like I said, it does happen quite often.
Yeah.
I think a lot of homes across Florida, I think just because of the age that they're finally getting to.
Yeah. We do close to 50 houses a year repiping.
I believe that.
We have 4 trucks on the road. We're not a huge company, so 50 houses a year keeps 2 of my guys pretty busy for all year.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's like
it's like a 4 or 5 day job typically on a standard 2-bath house.
Yeah, as long as nothing goes awry.
Yeah. And there's a lot of guys out here. I hear, when I go to bid these jobs with customers, and they're telling me that there's companies out there offering like 2-day repipes and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know how it's possible. I mean, we don't go in there, and we just kind of take our time, respect the customer's home, clean up after ourselves really well. We're very detail oriented. We don't just go in there and try to get in and out as fast as possible. We're there to try to be thorough and spend as much time with the customer as we possibly can, make them comfortable, cleaning up after ourselves and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, my parents had their house repiped, and it was kind of a disaster.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of that.
It was a really big mess, and then the person that came to redo the drywall was I guess it was in-house, but didn't work for them.
Yeah.
So it was like a contract type thing. And it took forever. They did a terrible job. My dad was like, I could have done a better job, and I'm not good at drywall.
Yeah. We do everything in-house. We don't sub anything out. We take our guys, the same guys that repiped your house are fixing your drywall.
Okay.
And they're very well trained. And once we did, like we could cut a hole in that wall right there and patch it and texture it. And once you paint it, you can never tell we were there.
Yeah, that's kind of the important part, but I think it also helps if it's the same people, because if they're the ones that cut it, they can kind of prep for it better. They know what's going on.
Not only that, I mean, with a company who does their own drywall repair, we're less likely to go cutting a bunch of holes we don't need to in your house, because we have to fix it.
Exactly.
And that's what I try to tell customers too. If beware of when you're getting estimates to repipe your house, if they don't do their own drywall repair, because they don't really care how many holes they cut, or to access where they're going, because they don't have to fix it. So, we have to be a little more precise with our stuff,
Of course, to save the overhead. Now, I did want to ask, since we're talking about homeowners, like, what are some things, do you think a homeowner should look at before they purchase a home? I know, do you think maybe they should have you guys look at a home?
I think it's a really good idea to have an actual licensed plumber come and inspect a plumbing system. For the most part, home inspectors, they miss a lot of stuff. They don't pay attention to the important things. They kind of catch the stuff that's easy to see. So I think having a licensed plumber come do an actual plumbing inspection is a really good idea. And typically, it's not as expensive as like a whole home warranty. Like we'll do like a warranty for an inspection for a home for about, I think, like $175 for a whole plumbing inspection. It's not like super detailed where we're putting cameras down stuff and all that kind of stuff, but it's a lot more thorough than your average home inspector is going to do. Some of them do a good job, but we've seen a lot of things that are missed, that are pretty important things that were missed on some of these home inspections too.
These days, I will say that's becoming more and more of a thing. That I think it's out of like what we were mentioning about like the products being bad. Also, just the services were bad too. There's a lot of shady things that went on. Like I've had 2 or 3 listings that I've had within the last year, probably, like maybe 5, let's say 5 listings that I've had, or I've went to like listing appointments, those kinds of things, and there was something shady that went on, something with the home inspector.
Okay.
Yeah, like I had one where it was a VA buyer and they was in a floodplain, but they didn't make them have flood insurance when they bought the property. That would have never occurred.
Wow.
Like VA can buy in floodplain, but they're probably gonna have to have flood insurance.
Yeah, right.
And so when the buyer's agent called me and read me out, I was like, I asked, and they don't have it. And they're like, well, there's no way they don't have it. And I said, they don't have it. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I had somebody else that had a leaking roof that they covered up, and the roof actually ended up collapsing into the home.
And it was missed?
It was missed.
Wow.
On the home inspection. Yep.
Wow, that's a big one.
It was a big one. Same thing with the AC, like the house. Yeah. Actually, the house that you guys, my buyer, hired you guys on.
Yeah.
That whole air conditioning system was jacked up, I think, when they bought the home, and nobody caught that.
The one that comes to mind for me was a house right here in Ocala off of like 8th, right by the water tower.
Okay.
What is that, Tuscaloosa?
Yes.
There was a lady who purchased a home, had a home inspection done, and when I got there, she's like, well, the home inspector was great. He even caught the little window crank upstairs that was broken. I'm like, well, that was awesome, you know? Well, they ended up having like $20,000 worth of plumbing. Oh, they couldn't even live in the home because the plumbing wouldn't work at all. They had drain issues, that everything had to be redone. Nothing was piped properly. I mean, as soon as I walked in there and looked at the plumbing, I could see there was issues, but not as bad as, you know, surface level stuff. But then there was a lot. It was over $20,000 worth of repairs that this guy missed, and they couldn't even live in the home. Couldn't use the plumbing at all. Couldn't flush a toilet. Couldn't do nothing.
Oh my God. Was it old?
It was an old home.
Yeah. I think the plumbing is really, like, if you start getting older than like 80s and older.
Yeah.
I think
this house was built in like the 60s or 70s.
Yeah. When those 60, 70 time frames, I really think at where we're sitting now, like in today's age, you probably should have the plumbing checked and
For
electrical and like really do all of those extra
deep
things.
Inspection.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you don't, and the problem is Marion County didn't keep good records on what actually was done to the home until 2010.
Yeah. I know when I call like to try to get information, you know, from like the waste department, sometimes it's not always, you know, accurate. But sometimes they have good information too. So I'm not going to like dog them too bad, but
no, but they just didn't keep good records.
Yeah.
You know, and my mom's a realtor as well. When she got into the business in 2016, she would like try to call and try to get information, and they'd be like, they still weren't keeping good records then. Now I don't think that's such a thing. Now they're pretty solid.
So you said 2010?
This is when they officially started keeping records, but my mom started in 2016, 2017. That still was not very good. I don't think it really got good until about, I don't know, like 2018, 2019.
Wow,
they
that's
finally,
not that long ago.
No, it wasn't that long ago. I mean, 2010 really isn't.
No, it's not that long ago.
It's really not that long ago.
Yeah.
So they just didn't keep good records. So I think that's like we're saying, like I think if it's an older home here in Marion County, definitely get like everything inspected.
I would say, you know, mainly, you know, from you know, your roof, HVAC, electrical, plumbing. Those are the big ones, you know. Everybody wants to look at the shiny, nice stuff, you know. Well, they did a great job. Everything looks new. The plumbing could be terrible. Your electrical could be, you know, close to a fire or whatever.
Yes.
So.
No, I know. I saw this. I went to this house and it was like the worst redo I've ever seen in my life. I was like, this is pitiful. I was actually looking at it for myself because I was like, we were considering buying a new home and getting a bigger home. And we went to it and I was like, this looks terrible. It was like really bad. Like all of the caulking was like already cracking. They spray painted over the crown molding.
What?
Yeah. Over, and then there was like roaches, like dead roaches.
I've seen some pretty terrible.
And I was like,
too.
oh my God, this is like absolutely terrible. And and it looked like to me anyway that the wiring looked like it was like, I don't know, what's it called whenever they have it with the. I can't even think about what it is. It's a big fire hazard. It's like the number one thing. Whenever, like the name of it. It's whatever it's like wrapped in the cloth.
Oh, the old knob and tube.
Yeah,
stuff?
knob and tube stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And I was like, oh my God, they like this.
The old screw in the fuses and things.
That's what it looked like to me. Like it was all original. And I was like, oh my God. Okay, probably was a rental or something at some point. And you know, people don't keep up with those things.
Another thing too is like handymen. Okay. You know,
yeah,
handymen are good for a lot of things. There's a lot of great handymen out there, but there's a lot of things that you should just hire a licensed, you know, person for: HVAC, electrical, plumbing.
Yes.
Those three things leave to the professionals. You know, handymen are good for a lot of things, but those three things I would never ever suggest hiring handyman for.
No, I agree.
We see it so often.
Yes,
and the homeowner doesn't know.
Yeah.
The homeowner just trusts the guy or woman that they know what they're doing, you know? Mm-hmm. And if they say that they know what they're doing, the homeowner trusts them and they have no idea, you know? but we've seen a lot of really bad things. So
No,
that would be a big, suggestion.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. No, something I wanted to mention and talk about a little bit is like, I know technically, if my understanding is that we technically have like a shortage of like plumbers, electricians, some of those other like trade jobs
For sure.
that do services.
Absolutely.
Do you guys feel that?
Oh yeah. Trying to find a young person who wants to do plumbing, and for me, I can only speak on that, but I'm sure that electricians and HVAC guys are feeling the same thing. There's a big market for young people to get into this stuff. If you want to work hard, that's the thing. It's not in an air-conditioned room sitting behind a computer screen all day. You're going to be out doing hard work, but it's a very good career choice. And not every young person's a college person. There's a lot of young men out there and women who aren't made for college.
No.
And there's no path, in school. There's no path for them. So it's either, if you're not good in school, then you have no, if you're not going to go to college, there's no path for you. And I think that in high schools especially, they should be offering trades.
Well, they are now actually in Marion County. Actually, so they are doing a something with construction and all of that. I think like a couple different things in that at Denellen.
Really?
Yes, really. And then where else was it that I saw? I'm trying to remember in my head. I think Lake Weir
really
has something
that would be.
like
I mean,
that
every single school. Every school should have it.
No, I don't disagree, but there are
mechanics.
Yes.
Oh
well, North Marion has the mechanics.
I know there used to be a big thing back in a long time ago.
I think it's coming back.
Shop class.
Yes.
Shop class, mechanic class. Any kind of trade. If you can get a young person who's not a candidate for college into a trade, it could be life changing.
No, I agree. I was listening to like a podcast not that long ago that was talking about like if you're not exceptional and not that you can't be exceptional in trades because I don't think that really was the point of what they were saying, but if you're just not exceptional in school, like
Sure.
you're not a school person,
right.
exceptional with books per se, there's really we don't really push an option. Like
right.
we only went with college. I mean, or entrepreneurship, and that's not for everybody either.
Sure.
Sometimes that's definitely not for the faint at heart. You got to have a lot of drive, passion. You're stepping out saying, "Hey, I can do this on my own. I don't need anybody."
Yeah.
And that's I think that kind of got trendy for a while.
Sure.
And I think a lot of people fell on their face, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because again, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
it's hard. It's hard work.
Yes.
It's hard work. It doesn't end when you go home either.
No.
I mean, I'm last night, for example, at 8:00 playing cards with my wife and my daughter, and a work situation came up. I had to deal with it. You can't. There's no turning it off.
No, I get that. Believe me. I mean, I was literally working out with my nephews. I take them and we go running and do some stuff, and I'm literally on my phone, like having to deal with like this disaster zone that occurred like that day, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of ridiculous, but here I am.
Yep.
It's just part of it, and you kind of have to do it. If not, you won't make it.
You won't succeed. That's right. If you want to succeed, you have to be available.
24/7.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. That's what it feels like anyway.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But I am excited to see that my age group, because I'm technically the first couple of years of Gen Z, so everybody younger than me most of them are still in high school.
Yeah.
But I do see a lot of them getting into trades. Like I actually just went and talked to a girl, her mom was going to possibly move up here, and she works in HVAC. And I would have never thought that, but that's what she does.
Yeah.
And so, and she's, I think, either my age or slightly younger than me. So I'm excited to see that. I think we need that.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
And people have a purpose, because if you're not working, you don't really have a purpose in life.
Especially if you have it's a career.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
It's not just a job.
No.
We're offering, you come have a career, you can take it wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
If you learn a trade, you can take it wherever you want to go, and you have a career for the rest of your life. You never have to worry about finding a job.
Yeah, no, and there's so many different avenues in plumbing, like, electrical too, like
electrical, HVAC, all of them.
I had a guy that he was an electrician. He worked all over the country. He worked in power plants.
Yeah, there's so many different little niches and avenues you can go down in any kind of electrical, plumbing, HVAC trades. I mean, there's lots of opportunity out there.
No, and he was so funny. He was like the coolest guy ever, honestly, and he was so quirky too. I loved working with him. But he talked about how he would just wait, and he's like, I got paid a lot of money, and I really didn't do a whole lot because
that's ideal.
Yeah, it's ideal. He's like, and he goes, because they didn't have enough work. I think they didn't have enough of superior people, and so it kind of just stalemated everything, which is kind of goes back to there's a shortage and a need,
For sure.
I think it just gives people something to do. And if you're not, because I was never really good at school either.
Sure.
I did graduate from college and I did do all of that, but it was not something when I was done with college, I was done.
Right.
I was like, I'm not getting a master's. I'm not going like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm over it. I actually have a degree in dietetics, so I was going to work in the healthcare
That's
industry.
cool.
Didn't do that, but COVID kind of happened, so
Yeah.
it is what it is.
COVID changed a lot of things.
It did, so I ended up becoming a realtor. But I always knew I would own my own business.
Yeah, I always felt like that too when I was in my when I first started in construction. My mindset was one day I'm going to work for myself. You know, I didn't really see this was the path.
Yeah.
You know, but it was out of my hands. So
Yes.
you know, so I'm glad it worked out the way it did, though.
Yeah, no, I mean, I actually really love your story, to be honest with me. I'm honest with you, like, I think that's just, I hope to see more of that.
Yeah.
And I hope that you, like...
There's a lot of, good businesses out there that are, long in the tooth that are probably needing good, fresh minds to take it over,
Yeah.
I could think of a few right here in town. I won't mention any names, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, adding social media,
There's a couple of too that I know of, younger, generation took over the parents' business or something and have done really well with it. A couple come to mind that have done really good, taking the business and had some fresh ideas and, kind of... Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. I've even thought about doing that with my own dad. He has a computer business. He's owned that business for, I don't know, almost 30 probably years now. And it's kind of lucrative. Like, he does it for dentists, so he logs in, fixes their computers, put new computers in. It's kind of like, I call it one of those kind of boring jobs. Like, it's not super exciting and it's the same thing all the time. And he's kind of getting over it. And I'm like, Dad, I know I don't do anything with this, but why don't we fix this up and put it together, and then the money that we make, we can use it to pay for your health care, because those things are expensive in today's world.
Sure.
And I saw the burden of what my parents had to deal with, with my grandparents. They didn't make a lot of money. I didn't come from money, so they definitely didn't come from money.
Sure.
And so they were just kind of limping along. And I'm excited to see, and I hope more people, at least even if they don't like what their parents do, consider figuring out a way to keep the business going.
Absolutely.
Because it's just, why give it up? Your parents sacrificed so much. You're sacrificing so much to keep it going and grow it and make it bigger. Why just be okay?
Let it go.
Let it go.
Yeah.
When it's it wouldn't be that hard to figure out a way to make it keep going.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, regardless of what the case would be, it's a lot of creative avenues out there.
Yep.
So I did want to ask, since it sounds to me like you went from working in electrical to going to plumbing, how did that really work? Because don't you have to have licensures and all of that?
Well, when you started out as an apprentice, you just work under someone else's license. I was working under whoever the owner of the business at the time, their license. So you really don't have to have your own license.
Okay.
Unless you want to have your own business.
Oh, interesting.
So you can just work. There's a lot of businesses out there who work under somebody else's license. I know several businesses who actually they don't hold a license at all. They work. Somebody else qualifies their business for them. I've had people, ask me to do that, and I'm not comfortable doing that just because that's my reputation now on the line for someone else's. I can't do that. But I know a lot of people who qualify other businesses with their license. So basically that person works under their license and they have their own business doing it.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, that's even just another avenue of way to make money in trades, really.
I mean, I could definitely make money off of doing that.
Yeah.
Because they charge them a percentage.
Of course they do, yeah.
So, I mean, there's definitely money to be made, but there's also a lot of liability involved.
Of course, yeah.
Especially what we do, there's a lot of liability in plumbing.
Oh, yeah.
You can flood someone's house and you got a big problem on your hands now.
But if you were somebody who really was ambitious and wanted to, if you really liked running businesses rather than doing the plumbing.
For sure.
It would be a great option.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't know that. So that's pretty interesting. Okay. Is that go for electrical too, do you know?
I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Yeah.
Okay.
HVAC, electrical, I'm sure there's a bunch of guys out there doing the same thing.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, because I wasn't really sure how that worked in plumbing. Because especially with the way that you were talking about it. Because I'm I know technically you can go get licensure.
Yep.
But you don't have
4 years. 4 years you have to be to get a master's plumber's license in Florida. You have to be working for someone for 4 years and be able to prove it. And then you can go take your state exam, and it's a tough one.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's a tough one. There's a 10-hour test. That's the plumbing test. It's actually 2 tests in one. Oof. And then there's the business portion of it, and I think that was 6 hours or something like that. And it's intense. Especially for me, I did it when I was 40.
Okay.
So I'd been out of school for a long time. Hadn't taken a test in forever,
Yeah.
And I studied for months and months and months, and passed both of the tests on my first try, which is not very common.
Okay.
Most people fail a couple times first. But I think I've just studied so much. I would go to the office at 4 o'clock in the morning on the weekends and study for 8 hours straight till noon.
Yeah.
Every weekend. And study is, I mean, I knew I had to, you
Yeah.
know. I'm a pretty good test taker. I wasn't like a real good student in school. I just wasn't very interested in school. I was a good test taker.
Okay.
So, I mean, I didn't do a lot of homework, but I did good on tests. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I was pretty confident that I could pass the test, but I knew that I needed to study for quite a long time to be able to do it. So,
Yeah, no, that sounds like
it was a big relief.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds intense.
Yeah.
Really intense. You
Yeah,
know,
it was-
I feel like they do make some of those things because my dad also is a licensed pest control operator as well. He did that for a long time, and he talks about how like hard that test can be too. I think they just do it to like weed people out.
For sure.
Same thing with real estate. Like
Absolutely.
I am not a good test taker whatsoever. And it took me a couple tries to get
Yeah.
to pass the test.
Yeah. Hey, it's fine.
Yeah.
However
Whatever.
you got to get there.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Just don't give up.
I would say I passed. I didn't just skim by, but I wasn't like, you know, I didn't nail it.
Yeah. Who cares?
I did enough to pass.
Just
you know?
pass it.
Yeah.
That's what I always say. I'm like, just pass the thing.
Yep.
I know. For teachers, my wife's a teacher, and she actually didn't go to school to be a teacher.
Yeah.
So COVID again, she went and became a teacher, and I went and became a realtor. That wasn't our plan. That's not what we thought we
Yeah.
would be doing, but we're here.
My wife's a preschool teacher too, so
Okay.
yeah.
So it is. So she had just recently had to go get her official licensure with the state, and she was like super freaked out about the test. Just like nobody ever passes it, and she's like, "But I'm like, you're really good at tests. I think you're gonna be fine." She passed it.
Cool.
And I was like, "Oh, you're gonna be fine."
It's a big relief when you do
It
that.
is.
You know,
It is hard though. Like I know that those tests. She makes it seem easy, but I know that they're
a lot of self-doubt. You know, you start doubting yourself if you're, you know, am I smart enough to do this? You know.
Yeah, literally. I can imagine, you know, and especially because all the people at her school were all failing it. Like,
Yeah.
they were all failing
I
it.
knew lots of people who failed the plumbing test. I mean, everybody I talked to had failed the plumbing test.
Okay, wow.
You know, at least once or twice or whatever, you know. So I was like, oh my gosh, you know. And I thought these were very good plumbers, you know, smart
Yeah.
people, you know.
It's not
It's
good
just
test.
tough.
Yeah, and not good test takers.
Yeah, right.
It's plus 10 hours. That's a long.
It's a long time.
And you do that all in one sitting?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, you have that long. You don't have to take that
Okay.
long. But I mean, I was one of there's probably a room of like 30 of us. I was probably
Okay.
like the fifth one done.
Okay.
But then you look around like, did I go too fast? You know?
Is it all paper or do you have to like
It's all paper.
It's all paper.
Yep.
Okay.
You have drawings, you have isometric drawings you have to do first.
Okay.
Like 3D like drawings of plumbing systems they'll give you, and you don't know what you're going to get till you get there, and they open the book up and they give you all these like schematics of plumbing
Okay.
systems that you have to draw like 3D.
Interesting.
And that was like my weak point, you know, that
that
part.
sounds intense.
You get 5 of those on your plumbing exam, and
Okay.
every once in a while they'll give you 6, and I was the lucky one that got the 6 drawings. And they only use 5, but they don't know which 5 they're going to use, so you have to do all of them. And I was like, as soon as I cracked that thing open, I was like, oh, I'm done. There's no way I'm passing this thing.
Yeah, no.
But I just started doing it, and I was, you
You're
know,
all right.
by the
Yeah.
grace of God, I passed that thing.
Yeah. No, it sounds really intense. Oh my God, like I can imagine. So towards the end of my podcast, what I always ask people is, if someone is looking to do what you do, what would you tell them?
Try to start young, you know, try to figure out what you want to do early enough so you can get into the trade at a young age, and go and work hard, be willing to sacrifice because when you start in this industry, you start at the very bottom, and that's where everybody in this industry, that's where I started. You start as the low man, and it's not a very glamorous thing. You know, you have to kind of put your pride aside a little bit, be willing to, go in and put your head down and work hard and work your way up. It takes quite a long time to do that, but it's a very rewarding thing once you can. And like I said before, there's a career path that no one can ever take from you, So I would say just, try to decide at a younger age if you can, and go work hard and be willing to sacrifice. That would be probably my advice.
No, I think that's good advice. Now, I know you said to start young. What would you recommend for people to do, like to kind of figure out plumbing? Because sometimes I feel like the trades people feel like are kind of inaccessible, and I also think a lot of those older people, they're not on social media talking about their jobs.
Sure, I think you just have to go around to find the plumbing shops and just go knock on doors.
Okay.
I mean, as a young person, or make a phone call. Say, hey, I'm looking to get into the trades. Is anybody hiring? And I know a lot of other plumbers, and most of the guys in our industry do. They may know someone who is looking for a young helper. And that's how you'd have to start, really. I mean, because they're not really knocking. They're not going to high schools and recruiting kids. So you kind of have to be proactive and go out there and get it. And it's not going to come to you more than likely. or that's how I would probably recommend, just pick up. Everybody can use Google.
Yeah.
Every young kid's got a smartphone. Google, plumbing, plumbers near me or whatever, and just start making phone calls, seeing if anybody's hiring or looking to get an apprentice or a helper, or get your
Okay.
foot in the door. That's all you got to do, is get your foot in that door, and
See
then
if you what do you
and then
think
you
of it.
can. The rest is up to you. Get the opportunity and take advantage of it.
Yeah, no, I think that's really solid advice because that's the one thing I know. It's getting better. I do find that more plumbers and more people are going to social media and posting.
We don't do a lot of social media stuff, but
Yeah,
a lot more than we used to before we took the business over.
exactly.
We have a lot more of a Facebook presence now. We don't do a lot of Instagram stuff. Most of our customers are kind of older,
Yes.
don't do the Instagram thing, so we focus on Facebook. So we try to put out like a post a week. We don't want to get, sometimes it could be a bit much, so we don't want to do that either. But yeah,
No, I
there's
get
not a lot
that.
of social media presence.
It just allows some people to have access to, like on TikTok and stuff. Like I've seen more people posting.
Yeah,
Like,
I follow a few people,
yeah,
like on Facebook and Facebook
yeah,
Reels and stuff. There's a couple guys out
yeah,
there that make really interesting videos that I like
yeah.
watching.
But I think it's good. I'm happy to see that those people are taking over those businesses and kind of
Yeah,
just giving a more of a realistic look into what the job is really like. Because
sure,
I think that's the thing too, is we just you don't really know what
sure.
the options are.
Yeah, you
You
don't
know,
know what you don't know.
no, and at college has just been pushed so hard.
Sure.
And so I feel like trades are just like, even myself, like I thought you had to be licensed. And that's like, I
Yeah,
don't think a lot of people realize that it could be really that easy
sure.
to start. And like, honestly, probably not very expensive to get started into.
A lot of companies, for example, we provide tools. We don't
Yeah.
even, you can show up at our, start at our company with nothing.
Yes.
And that's, we just hired a young man who's 24 years old.
Okay.
He's just finished a year's class at CF to do plumbing. He
Okay.
took a little year course over there, and he just finished that when we hired him. Very, very nice young man, very driven, very respectful. That's one thing we look for. I mean, I can teach anybody how to be a plumber. I want to hire respectful young men. That's
Yeah.
the big thing, because I have to trust you in customers' homes. So that's a really big thing for us. So like the other young guys we have, I say young, they're probably 30,
Okay.
28 now. I've
Okay.
known them
They're
since
my age.
they're
Yeah.
I've known them since they were in diapers. Both
Okay.
of my other guys, and they're the best young men you could possibly ever ask for, and great mentors to any young person that we come hire onto the business. So we're
Yeah.
very blessed in that aspect.
No,
So
that's really awesome. Now,
yeah,
do you have anything you want to add before we wrap up?
I think we're good.
Everything pretty good?
Yeah,
All
I think
right.
good. You did a great
Oh,
job.
thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thank you very much for your time.
It
I
was
appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks you for coming on. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I hope you guys look forward to another great episode next week and have a good one.